It's a great honor to be able to have a few words to say at the end of such a successful week. I too would like to begin with some thank yous. First to the sponsors and the translators and the facilitators of these 5 extraordinary days. Most especially, of course, Claudia for her vision and for her steady hand on the helm of this whole enterprise. It's been an unprecedented success, I believe, bringing the pleasure and the challenge of an amazing range of poetry to audiences notably diverse in their makeup, students, faculty, staff, and the wider community. And my thanks to you all as well for making these evening gatherings happen here at Bates. But of course, our deepest gratitude goes to the poets. I know I speak for many when I say that the pleasures of these encounters with you and your poems will last a very long time. Each night since Sunday, I have returned to my home with an inimitable elation, a sort of displaced, wide-eyed pleasure at the beautiful disturbances that your poems offered. 4, at least 4, distinct and satisfying flavors every evening. And the good fortune of becoming acquainted with your work has been doubled by meeting and talking with so many of you. So, now of course I should be summarizing gracefully and comprehending wisely, concluding seriously and jesting gently. I should be gathering us all beneath some bright tent of aphorism, but I instead intend to resist those obligations, I think, and prefer to risk a brief and figurative response to what's been a week of the most mysterious and intriguing invitations. Invitations to recognize afresh the essential pleasure that poetry first and foremost offers. Poetry, it came to me strangely the other night, is really all about resistances. First, as Paki pointed out in her introduction of Anna, I believe, the poem itself resists, so enticingly resists being put into words. Though it crosses vast distances to reach its poet, it will only meander into language. It requires summoning, coaxing, unspeakably intimate seductions to be voiced as only it must be. It is, as Adrienne Rich once suggested, like a secret you didn't know you were keeping. The poem resists perhaps because it knows its poet better than the poet knows him or herself, because inchoate and developing as it is, it perhaps knows the poet's language, the tones and timbres and traditions of that language, better than he or she does. In the process of conjuring the poem, the poet realizes that she must resist what most immediately comes to hand, to ear, to mind, and discover what exactly delights, as at once recognition and surprise. And once it has found its form, the poem becomes its own live creature, a creature now given to resisting its potential translator, who then must undertake very much the same process, listening in to the poem's approach, its heartbeat, its footsteps, its motives and behavior, so as to carry these across into another tongue, into another world of reference and belief, one poem at a time. So many poems to be discovered by, to carry across, all resisting nobly and gracefully the simplifications of paraphrase and taxonomy, but still inviting our participations in their arrivals on the air and in the mind. The poem Wallace Stevens once wrote must resist the intelligence almost successfully. I believe that very resistance to writer, to translator, to reader constitutes the poem's élan vital, its mysterious capacity to live within and haunt its audience. So I offer you this slight poem that arrived because you, our visitors, arrived and gave so much to us, and I offer it humbly to you in thanks. Resistance. The poem first exists, first resists, as a far-off bit of speculative evidence, maybe some gravitational anomaly, an evident lacuna, evidence of its own unnecessary but inevitable incipience, of its own covert uncurling, of its first ignition whirling upright from a secret that took place so long ago, and now has traveled, so many years traveled, oh, the ache, the algos of that voyage toward you, to be noticed just as evidence, as absence, homesickness, a longing lighting now by chance as rain on your glasses, as the complex tones of venerable bells, as an incense of smoldering leaves dismantling you, as a beetle's bronze wing lifted on the back of that hand you thought you knew so well. There it is, resisting its own already yearned for embodiment in words. And you will belong to it now, for days, maybe years. It will never quite conclude.